For us in Ohio, the intense heat is not going away. In fact, 90-degree temperatures are in the forecast as we get into next week. And now is the time for athletic training camps for the fall high school sports as well as band camps. Dr. Jill Haltigan joins us today to explain what young athletes, parents, and coaches should always remember in this intense heat. Doctor, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so always good to hear these reminders. What would be the #1 precaution that high school athletes and any athletes and coaches should take when they're outside training?
Yeah, I think the most important thing I would say is just to remember that heat exhaustion, heat stroke can happen to anyone. It's not a reflection on someone's character or their ability to try hard and push through anything. And so we just need to be really conscientious if someone is showing any symptoms of concern to make sure that's brought to the appropriate attention and to be handled sort of immediately. So I know, a lot of our young athletes just want to prove themselves. This is, the time to really show how good you are and make the team, but really just need to be open and honest and willing to speak up if there's a concern.
Right. And just remind us, what are some of the health emergencies, with heat exhaustion and others that are directly caused by working out in the heat?
Yeah, so, this can be anything from, sort of the one end of the spectrum, probably things we've all had before where we've just felt a little bit more tired, thirsty, dizzy, lightheaded, and kind of been, I know I need to go in, sit down and get some fluids, all the way up to things that can, unfortunately be life-threatening. And we've certainly heard news stories of young athletes and even professional athletes who have passed away from this. So, everyone needs to be aware of some of the symptoms. These can be, again, those that sort of muscle cramps, lightheadedness, feeling very hot all of a sudden, to the more severe things that need to be, addressed immediately if someone is showing any signs of confusion or agitation, anyone who vomits, anything like that. Those are things that need to be, immediately seen by a medical professional.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, we've heard the stories about even the most healthiest and most athletic people out there can deal with these issues, so it's important to keep in mind. And just remind us some of those warning signs that an athlete needs to stop what they're doing right away and get some help. Maybe some ones that we don't always think about, and also, just the common warning signs.
Yeah, so some of the other things that we can look for is any type of muscle cramping. Sometimes our face will get very flushed. It might even just be in our ears that we'll notice it first. If you just start to notice an intense desire of thirst, and again, feel anything that's just sort of out of the ordinary for you, it's the right thing to do to take a break, to go sit down, to get into a cooler environment. And I think this is something that, parents and especially coaches or band, leaders need to sort of built into the schedule. So we want to be, having these appropriate breaks for our kids to be able to cool down, kind of built into the schedule that they have.
Yeah, it's important for all of us to listen to our body, especially in the heat. And really quick, is it possible that a teen athlete or anyone could come home from practice and maybe several hours later they could experience symptoms from doing a lot of activity in the heat? Are there any problems that can arise from that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, we think once you get out of the heat and you're kind of in the cooling down process, hopefully things would only get better. But, that physical activity and whatnot can cause our body temperature to rise shortly after we're done working out, especially if we're not able to get our heavy equipment off or kind of cool our bodies down right away. So you definitely want to be conscientious of this in the short term after practices. And that brings up a great point about the front end, is to make sure your kids are very well hydrated before they go outside. So it's not just that we want to be drinking our water and sports drinks when practice starts. We want to be doing that all day in advance of preparing for this.
Yeah, lots of water, stay hydrated, and doing what we can to stay cool out there. Thank you so much, Dr. Haltigan. We appreciate all your time today.
Thank you, sir.